Hello, Mark Red Larson here for the Dreamcatcher podcast. Thanks for joining me. Well, today, I didn't know what I was going to do with this podcast on. I was struggling, and this is episode 202. And you'd think by now I would have no problems coming up with topics, but it is still, I don't want to be preachy. I think is something I don't ever want to be. I want to be hopeful, but I don't want to be preachy. And so I was struggling and just looking to see, and I had some ideas, and I thought they sucked. And yeah, so I actually had been watching the new news, and on comes the Bold and Beautiful soap opera. And I had told God, please give me a suggestion. And they were talking, and then all of a sudden they were talking about this clothing line or whatever, hope for the future. And I thought, aha. And God had sent that to me that way. And it's like, yeah, that is the topic. It is so much the topic that it is like light bulb moment, and yeah, so that's what this is going to be because I think so many people, maybe worldwide, have lost hope for the future. Um, I know when I talk to people all over the world, which is the gift of doing this podcast, and I love that part of it. Anybody who knows me now knows I love to talk, and yeah, it is a gift. I mean, I could talk to these people. I really haven't met anybody that I really haven't wanted to continue talking with, and so hope for the future. So why are we not having hope for the future? At least the majority. I think there's still people out there that do. And, Cheryl and I, we've been going through the last year now. We could have no hope for the future. I know Cheryl borders on that at times, wants to give up. And because, I mean, she's been cleaning houses for, let's see, 30 years coming up next year. And, and yeah, and it really, hasn't made much progress. I mean, she's had great clients, and it's been good. I know she has enjoyed it. I mean, she's probably worn her body out, which is probably part of the reason why she doesn't have hope, because she's in a lot of pain, and she would like to go. There's a few things that she would love to go to the doctor for, but we just aren't able to do that, and we definitely aren't able to do it. Even basically, we could go probably to the doctor with what we have in this country for health insurance. I'm not going to go and harp on that because that's usually what I would have done. We're blessed to have that much health insurance, and but yeah, she's just kind of lost hope, along with most of the people, most everybody else I talk to. It's not like I was watching a thing the other day. Um, Basically, 50s, 60s, early 70s. People people were not in a hurry. They had optimism about the future. Prices were where they could afford. There's still, you had to work, but you could afford groceries. You could afford a house. You could afford to improve yourself. Well, now with what we have going on in this country and worldwide, is we have where most people can't afford to go to school without getting so much debt that they live with that for the rest of their life trying to pay it off. Can hardly afford a car, pickup especially, house. Um, it's gotten to the point where these people, I can understand why they don't have any hope there. But and we've been blessed. This house, when we bought some farm ground, which we don't have anymore, but this house came with it, and this is actually the house that I grew up in. My parents moved in. It was a rental, and my parents moved into it when I was H2, and they rented it the whole time. I bought it from the guy that Cheryl and I bought it from the guy we had rented it from. Actually, down in North Lynn. It became like family, so they were awesome, and it was very kind that they did for Cheryl and I in this house. And he was happy to know somebody would take care of the house. And this house is we moved it 20 years ago, which I can't believe. But yeah, I've been blessed. Been blessed so many times. My parents sold us this corner of ground, 5 acres, for $1, and I've been blessed. I mean, I don't have really anything to complain about. But and we're kind of spoiled, Cheryl and I, because we've had a very blessed life. Even with Cheryl and her illnesses, cancer, and everything, she's beat it. We were able to move forward. It came close to crippling us. Still something we struggle with. Part of the reason with all this going on this past year is part of that, but we're still here and we're making progress. I mean, I'm doing a podcast. I'm trying to get her to have, because she has art degrees, and trying to get her to do her art. Um, she's always wanted to, and we have been cleaning our basement out. And oh my gosh, we really, really need to do that a long time ago. But now we have a space down there for her to do her art, kind of a studio, makeshift studio, so it's just something we can build better. But that's sort of brought our hope up. But I think the reason why people don't hope, and Cheryl, is they don't see an end to the struggle. And I'm right there with them. I don't see an end to the struggle. I see the struggle getting worse. I see the government being nonchalant on the national debt. I was it 35 trillion yesterday. I don't think they realize the danger, the fire they're playing with. All I have to do is look back at history to see what happens. And I think that is one reason why we have so much inflation and a lot of things else going on in this country. Because the inflation has gotten the average house out of the reach of most people. The groceries going up, especially the last few years. I feel sorry for people that are on minimum wage or anything like that. I don't know how you buy groceries. It's very difficult, and but so that right there, lose hope. But I can, I also see, and also I'm going to move on back to the last topic. With so much technology coming in and taking these people's jobs away, and AI, Chat GPT, there's a lot of things. I mean, these robots are getting eerily accurate, and they look like humans. And these people know there's only a matter of time before they're probably going to lose their job because they're labor. And I truly do believe most labor will be um, with AI, whatever it is, robots, whatever. I saw McDonald's had tried to do AI with their drive-through, and it had gotten it 85% accurate, which is amazing just starting out. Um, and that all is scary, but also it's. I think like anything, there's going to be good and bad. So that is an aspect, that to be down, lose hope with, because it's like, well, there's not going to be any work for me. What am I going to do? How am I going to pay my bills? How am I going to do anything? Keep my home? Anything for retirement? It's not like 40s and 50s and into the 60s where you could save money and live quite well with your retirement. And I was even watching a piece on that the other day, which was very interesting. The boom times after World War II, but we are not in that, and there everything cycles, but we're cycling into definitely a uncharted territory, which is usually the case. But this one, I can see people can't afford their health care. In health affordable care, I did nothing to help on that. Actually, it made it worse. But I'm not going to harp on that. Um, they can't afford the food because, and in this country, and I've said this many times on the podcast, our food is so poisonous. It's just like that. Like we said, when Cheryl and I were able to go to Italy last year, which was a blessing, we noticed all of us, because we were with a group, noticed how much better the food tastes in Italy, and they don't allow that stuff. And and it's too bad that our government, the people that are supposed to be watching out for us, allow that. Um, yeah, just like I talked to a guy yesterday who is overweight, and he's had two knees put in, and the doctor put him on one of the drugs that it's in lawsuit. And actually, there's two drugs, and I thought I would be surprised that doctor actually should prescribe that. First thing is, doctor is do no harm, and I couldn't in good conscience do that if I were the doctor. So yeah, there's all these. You're being bombarded by all these drug commercials, which should be off the air. Um, you need to get back to having the doctor where the doctor has time to talk to you. And that's another thing. I believe people lose hope because they don't have the time. It never ends. And that's one thing I was talking to, I think it was Vincent Hezonville the other day, that you could do 24/7 and there's no downtime. And that is one thing Cheryl and I have with this period we've been going through, which has been blessings. We have played so many board games, and we're learning how to. I knew how to play cribbage, but my dad got us a book on how to refresh my mind on that. I mean, we've played touring, and we haven't played Battleship yet, but we're thinking about doing that. All these games, and the game of life, which was awesome, and I think Cheryl and I won the same amount of games on that. But taking the time, we don't have the time. We don't have the time to even think. And I think you get tired and you lose hope. And it's like, when is this going to end? When's the break coming? And I understand it. It's just like enough. And I basically, with what Cheryl and I've been going through, I surrendered because it's just like I can't do it anymore. I just cannot do it. And as like I've said before, people like go out and get a job, and help this out. And I could do that. I could definitely get a job. I have no doubt I could get a job very quickly. I could actually go back to doing what I was doing. But and where's that going to get me? I'm going to be down the road, and if when I'm not able to do it physically and still not have the money to do it because I've not been able to save any because everything's expensive. So I understand why people. I mean, it's hard to save because it takes every cent, and most of the time there's not enough. It's just like I think I saw the other day. I don't know how many people in the United States are way behind on their credit card bills and are defaulting on their vehicle loans, and there's a lot of things being defaulted on right now, and it does get to the point where there's no answer, and that doesn't really give you a lot of hope that it's ever going to get better. But like I said earlier, everything cycles. It does. It will get better. You look at what went on in the '60s, and I really don't remember that. I was just a little kid then, but in Vietnam and that stuff. But it got better, and I remember and I was, '70s and '80s I remember well, especially the '80s. I thought the '80s were awesome, and boom time, and I mean we were a little too concentrating on money then, but it does get better. It ebbs and flows, and I'm just, and this isn't going to help somebody that's going through this, and I know that you just kind of resent it. It's just like they don't understand, or he doesn't understand what I'm going through, and I do understand now. I've been through it lately, and you wonder where your next meal is going to come from. Wonder if you're going to be able to pay your electricity. You wonder if you're going to have enough gas to get to the work every day of this week. You look for stuff that's free to do. You would like to do this, but you can't afford even $5. It's just, and that also does not do hope. But I also know what there are so many people out there, kind people, that are willing to help. And that is one thing we have lost so much in the United States from, I believe, '50s, '60s, when my grandparents were, really in their prime. And they would go play cards, they would chill, and people helped each other out. And I think we need to help each other out now rather than doing the stuff we do nowadays. It's just like I saw a video yesterday of road rage in Miami, and they said that was kind of the norm. I don't know what the gal had done, but the guy came out of his car and broke her mirror. And that's one thing. What you give out, you will eventually get it back. Always. That is, I mean, if you put positivity out, you will get positivity back. If you get negativity back, one way or the other, you will get it back. Whatever you put out, you get back. It's kind of the rules of the way it works. And especially, I have been kind. I've been blessed because I've been loving, kind. I've tried to at least to people, and they've been very nice and kind back. When Cheryl and I've been struggling during this time period, very blessed. And so do not put out. And that's why I think TV needs to be. I don't know. The stuff that's put on TV is we need stuff that shows the good side of humans, not the worst of them. And we have so much of that. And how many crime shows can we have? I mean, does that really make you feel better? Just makes you think everybody's bad. And it's such a small percentage. I mean, I deal with a lot of people. I mean, I deal with people all over the world, from New Zealand to Canada. Like this morning, I just talked to a gal a few minutes ago. Everywhere in the United States, Portugal, quite a few times. Um, People are good, but they don't show that side. They don't want to show that side because that would give people hope. It's like, see, there's still hope. There are still good people in the world. And I'm here to tell you, I'm one of them. Cheryl's one of them. I have so many people I know that are. We're frustrated because we don't know what to do. Um, it's just, and I think people have lost touch with God, and and I was one of them. I've never really, until recently, had a very good. I knew God. I did the celebration of Christmas and all the stuff that went along with that, and of course, I enjoyed getting the presents and decorating, and I still do. But it wasn't until this went on with Cheryl and I that I came to have a really good relationship with God. And I know I've told you many times on this podcast that he talks to me, or like give me the idea for this podcast. Hope for the future, because I didn't know what I was going to do, and I think he's using me to hopefully still hope for the future. I know he's using people all over the world, and everybody's like, yeah, when Jesus, the Lord, whatever, God's coming back or whatever, he's here. He never left. And I've said that many times too. He's working through people like myself. There's just so many people that I can see how he's working through them. So, and like I said, when I started this podcast, I had done it for quite a while. And then God, first time I ever talked to God, came and he said, I like podcasts because he said it gets to the people that aren't getting reached nowadays. Because churches aren't able to do it because they're not meeting the needs of these people that are struggling. At least most of them. There are churches out there. But he said that we need to do that. And that's one thing he's been, I've said this before too, he's been very fatherly. I mean, he's been awesome. And he bounces ideas off of me and tells me what's going to go on and tells me what to wear and how to you notice I even turned the screen today, give you a different view of my office here. Didn't have that idea either until he told me I should do it. Um, and also put my tank top on because that's another thing that Cheryl and people that don't have money and hope aren't able to fix their central air, and that's one thing. Things have gotten so pricey that you basically can't. I think to redo this one right now would be $12,000, and I don't know many people that have $12,000 laying around. And then they estimated that it would be a fix for 10 years. Um, yeah, used to be that you could buy stuff so reasonable. It's just like I was watching a thing on pickups, and they were showing them at 99,000 to 125,000. I'm sorry, the pickups are good, but they're not that good. I'm gonna go buy. I'm gonna buy that i8 that I had on there the other day. Get a used one. I can still have money left over. That BMW or Lambo or whatever. And if nothing else, put a down payment, a big one on it. So I just don't see, and they will probably more likely hold their value. The pickup, yeah, probably most pickups. No, not most pickups. Some pickups are used for work. There's a lot of pickups that don't ever see work much, and but there is no hope because if you want to borrow that, you're gonna have to have a long loan. About the time the loan's done, your pickup's worn out, so it repeats the cycle. Then you have not saved any money for another vehicle, so you're going to have to do a loan again, and it just keeps going and going and going. And that's what Cheryl and I found with the medical debt. Yeah, we could, and I will not do that again. I will not do debt again. I will not. If I don't have it, I don't have it. And that is one thing with the credit cards being so easy and these predatory loans, which I would call these commercials where you can get a payday loan basically, or I don't know, some of these other loans that, if you can show your work, you get a loan. And, that shouldn't be legal. But then we always blame the American public, for defaulting on their, loans and all this other stuff. It's like, well, you've kind of enabled it. And so there's not hope. And and to get hope back, we need to be grateful for what we have right now. It may not be what we had earlier, but we're grateful. It's just like I'm sitting in an office that was actually thanks to a couple friends and the bullets and colors and everything, and because it needed some updating and it was full of junk too, kind of like our basement was. So I'm grateful I have this. Grateful I have the technology. Um, Grateful that I'm here. Get another day to live because some people didn't wake up this morning, and but I'm just grateful for all the friends that I have in this life. Grateful for the family that I've had and still do. Um, I'm just grateful for my wife. We've been married over 33 years. Um, yeah, and grateful that she was able to beat the illnesses and cancer and everything else she's had. Because it could have been all bad, but it was all good. So that really, what you look for, you'll find. And if you're looking for no hope, you'll find no hope. But if you are looking for hope, there is hope out there. There are people coming up with ideas because probably there won't be much labor anymore, and but there's going to be, and you're going to have to kind of like I've done many times, from farming to handyman to podcasting to speaking to who knows what's next. But you have to kind of pivot with how the technology is going, and with everything today, it goes quite quickly. And just how podcasting has changed and how AI has gotten into that already. Um, it's amazing. But you do have to. And then people that say I'm too old, it's like, yeah, that's not a mindset. And some people probably wouldn't be able to comprehend it. But I think you stay younger if you start and keep up with what's going on. So that would give you hope, because I find learning is always awesome. And I hope other people do. And I think once you get into it, you kind of out of school, you're like, I'm done learning. And that is in today's world. You got to keep relevant. You got to keep learning. And it's a win-win because you are learning and you're getting to do something that's going to be something in the future. With podcasting is one thing, blogging, working stuff with AI, the stuff that can do. And it's just, there's so many things. It's just different than what it's been. It's just not any different than like the Industrial Revolution. All those people that before that thought, it was going to be terrible because all these new things were coming in. Well, now we look at it, it's like we kind of still depend on it a lot. And it's mindset. It is very much mindset for hope, because you can find it. It's just like hope for a new day, hope for a beautiful day, hope for us having air conditioning someday. But Cheryl and I've been doing it, and it's been hot and humid. That's why I've been this. And one thing, I've had the best tan I've ever had in my life. The less food, not going out to eat, very little. Um, Probably not as much wine as we would normally have drank. I'm down into the 170s now. The lightest least I've weighed, easy for me to say, in quite a few years. So, and I'm going to continue. 155 is the goal, and that's what, according to what I'm supposed to weigh. So, and keeping the core going, and just getting more muscle, and just doing whatever I want to do, because I see in my mind's eye the person that I want to be. And even if it's taken me all these decades, I have the hope that I will be the person that I want. Hair will be back. Teeth will be fixed, because that's one thing with all the grinding. I ground. I had lots of stress trying to do all this stuff, and I basically ground my teeth down. I'm just lucky I don't have the pain from being down to the nerve, um, because I did all those years of stress trying. And I've said in previous podcasts that I think it was 2012. Cheryl and I had like 5 or 6 jobs going, and what did it get us? It got us more stress, but it didn't really get us ahead. And that's why people don't go and get more jobs, because it doesn't enable you to get ahead. And that's one thing this present generation knows. And yeah, there's gonna be lazy people, but they know it doesn't pay. That's why many of them are moving into this new technology. And it is, and I find it fascinating. I mean, other people, and my dad, I get it from my dad. My dad's always been that way. He's always been a leader in technology. He had one of the very first computers I ever had known. In fact, he had stored it in my basement, so he just got it back. One of them that he had stored down there, and just embrace what's going on, because it is your future, and you can't really stop the future. You just have to become part of it. And I think it's how it keeps you young too, which is more hope there, because when you stay young, maybe you're going to keep your mind. That's what my thing is, because my mom had Alzheimer's dementia, and thankfully they're making progress on that. Staying fit. Like I've said many times, I don't think I look 61. I'm praying, and I will continue to work on not looking that way. If anything, I want to look like I'm going backwards on age. I won't I will still age, but I want to look like I'm not. And I want to be an example of what's possible. And that's what this podcast, I want to be an example of what's possible. If I can do a podcast, anybody can do it. All it is talking. You could have some water over there, you could have some tea, coffee, and just kind of and have guests. And there's so many resources out there to start podcasting. I helped a lady last week, give her some suggestions on how she was going to start a podcast, and asked me what I had for ideas and how to start. And I'm more willing to help on that. But it's just there's so many things out there, and just get enthused about what's going on, and watch less news. Actually, I don't watch news. I mean, I watch the local news, but I don't watch the national news. I find it occasionally all right. I think, in my opinion, CBS, especially like on their Sunday morning program, I like really well. But most of them I don't watch. They do have features. I mean, the one on ABC, I think we does stuff with people feeling good. So I think they are trying to get a little bit better. It's showing the good side of people, but we need to get away from programming. And the only way to get away from it is not watching. Because if you're still watching it, they're going to have it on because the advertisers are going to like, this is where the people are. So we have to make sure we aren't to blame for the future we're getting. And we also need to start taking care of what's going on with our kids. And because I'm going to get into the gun thing and whatever else. The guns have been around for centuries. And we need to make sure we take care of our kids and watch what they're watching, and see if it's appropriate for them. Have time with them, show you care. And I mean, there's still going to be times where it doesn't work all the way, but just show that you love them truly, and take them to church. Whatever it would be that would give that you care for them. I wasn't very religious. I'm spiritual, but I still am so thankful for my parents having me getting brought up in the Methodist church. But it doesn't have to be Methodist. Whatever your choice is, but just show you care. And I know it's hard because some parents are working multiple jobs, and that's something that we need to probably start training for these people so they can get better jobs into 21st century jobs. Like I said, I think most labor jobs are going to go way of the dinosaurs. I think they will be mainly a novelty, labor jobs, because for one thing, the business owners aren't going to be able to afford to keep the people on, or very few. And so there is hope. You need to embrace today. You need to keep yourself relevant. You need to start, because we all have things that's like, I love that. I love doing that. And that's your cue to know that maybe you should do a business there. And starting a business isn't that hard either. I mean, getting an LLC, there's so many people out there will help you. There's so many coaches out there. I'm one of them too, that will help you. And I not specifically for starting businesses, but I love helping people, and I will, to a point, I will, just help you. Like the gal the other day that started the podcast, because everybody's like, "Well, you don't charge." It's like, if we went into more like, we were doing business, yeah, but just in general, no. And just care for people. Don't do the road rage. It takes the same amount of effort to be happy than to be mad. And just like that guy down in Miami that wrote that gal from Europe, he could have just blown it off and ignored it. But no, instead he ramped it up because somebody had done something to him. And it's ego. Ego is never good. Like God said, where ego is, there's never love. And we have a lot of ego out there. And just myself included, you have to watch your ego. Keep it in check. Because, like I said, with ego, there is no love. And but yeah, just know there's hope out there. Hope for the future, because it could be a very blessed future or it could not. It's how we all see the future, and the way they're working on us. And I truly believe that God's working the other way, and that they want us to be. One thing, they want us so busy we aren't able to think, just by the fact that with the stuff they pass at the midnight hour. And we need to basically put limits on the people in government. We need to have IDs for voting, no options. I'm not for sure we should have voting at home. or online. Too many opportunities for not good things to happen. So, and we need to have this a time limit. Congress needs to have a time limit, an age limit, I should say, and just like the president, and this is what it is, and get new blood in there, and then take part in your government, take part in your community, take part in starting something. I've thought about many times, and I'm working on thinking maybe starting a nonprofit to show people how to make money in today's world. Um, yeah, I'm still working with that idea. God is kind of directing me on that, but I'm not sure what that's going to look like yet. But whatever way I can help people, and if you want somebody to really look like somebody who is really helping people, check out Charlie Rocket. And I know I've brought him up on this podcast before, but Charlie Rocket is an amazing man and has a heart of gold, and he hasn't had the easiest life. And yeah, he's inspirational. And I remember the first time I saw him in Vegas on stage. It was actually a Thrive that I was helping put on for the Hatter family, and another family that is awesome. And yeah, if you want to be inspired, go to the Hatter family and Thrive, and Cole Hatter and Sonia and Marta and just everybody. And the dad's called Big Sexy. And in fact, he just turned 75. But there are so many people out there that are doing good. And that family and Charlie Rocket are inspiration of what's good in this world. So if you're looking for something good, they're right there. And if nothing else, be an example of what's good. We all kind of know what we should be doing. And be an example. Show kids what it's good. Make it cool to be good. And I think on that I'm going to end. Just show, be an example of what is good, because I find it rewarding. I think it's one of the best things when you make people's day. Um, that truly is cool. So, on that, thank you for joining me on this 202 episode of the Dreamcatcher podcast. And I look forward to doing this many more years and many more episodes. And like I've said, I'm open to suggestions on this, guests. I have had some people suggest some guests. I've been talking with them. So, yeah, in fact, I'm talking to another one at 5 this afternoon. And yeah, and they've all been, ones I've been talking to the last few days have been awesome. Look forward to you being able to see and hear them on the Dreamcatcher podcast. Until then, take care.